Last lap fights, photo finishes, title deciding moments, and first time winners. The RPL Las Vegas Grand Prix has had it all, it seems. And it's our third trip here for Tier 2. And if you include all tiers as well as our sprint race and feature races for F2, it's our 11th trip here throughout all tiers of RPL. I'm your commentator for tonight, Ryan Searles. I'll be having RSF1 Invade join me, but because it's his home race, we've got Beatnik joining us for a lap around the circuit of Las Vegas, and to open up the stream. Welcome along, you both. It's good to have you both.
Yeah, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you're at. Yeah, going to be a great race.
Great to be here as well. Of course, my home race. I've been on these streets so many times. Yeah, just on the public roads. Actually, driving these streets in the F1 game at these speeds is just absolutely surreal, and I absolutely love it every single time I do a race here. Great to be here.
Absolutely. Last week's race in Mexico, we had Mintoki on pole. Night Owl win for Aston Martin. That was Aston Martin's first win under the Aston Martin banner in Tier 2. So that means it was their first win since their last race as Racing Point, 154 races ago. It seems like this whole entire Tier 2 game cycle, and other tiers included, we've had many long droughts broken. We had Mercedes' first 1-2 in a while, Blonde's first win in many seasons, same with Polo got break a drought. We have many droughts that we broke, and I'm sure more to come. First time winners have happened around the circuit as well. Suggy C1, it was Suggy F1, something like Suggy C1, Suggy F1, one of the first F2 races
Sugi.
here. Yes, Blue Gagi, he won his first F2 race here as well. And I don't think we've had any other first-time winners besides that, but this circuit has definitely had it all in the past. But nonetheless, last week we had a first-time winner, Night Owl, for Aston Martin, meaning we have now had, throughout the last 5 races, 5 different winners, 4 different teams win, and 3 different pole sitters, a back-to-back one just last week with Mintoki getting her 4th pole of the season. Beatnik, I've got to ask you, you've been in and out of this tier, whether it's racing, watching it, driving, all of the above, all that kind of stuff, commentating. What should we expect for tonight's race? We had a Tier 3 race yesterday that we looked at, and we had no safety car, no VSC. Should we expect a little bit of the same tonight, or should we expect a little bit of the opposite?
I'm thinking the opposite today. Just the elevated pace of these drivers here in Tier 2, you can definitely expect the stakes are going to be higher here. Especially there is the lingering title fight between Polo God and George, so there's always that to look forward to. And it all came to a head last week when they made contact.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so I think we should expect the unexpected here. But I want to take our attention to the man reserving for Red Bull of F1 Shorts. He, of course, got pole position in yesterday's Tier 3 race, and he's in a top car for Tier 2 this week. So I look at him to be performing well. And
I
it'd be
feel like
interesting to
this is a
see how he
preview
goes in
of
quali.
next season, though, because Alex Norris is moving to Tier 2. Lero Fusion's moving to Tier 2 next season. He's not racing, though, but you have Spangley, who's here, who's a Tier 3 driver. You have Shorts, a Tier 3 driver here, and his teammate for next season, Woda, is also racing tonight. So, you mentioned him in the Red Bull. He may not be in a top car for next season, but this does seem like a preview for next season. Same thing with what this race could provide in terms of the end of the season type of championship. George has not been on it as much, but he is still getting the results, maintaining the championship lead. He moves to Mercedes next season, and this race could show what we might see if George is not in the fight for the victory. It's definitely interesting storylines to go through. We have a lot of previous races to talk about here. I want to look at Season 9 Tier 2, our first trip to the circuit, where we had a photo finish, both Ferraris clashing for the victory, keeping it relatively clean, at least, realizing that, they could have costed each other both a chance of a victory, and luckily didn't do so. They raced it out clean down into Sector 3 and the final stretch. We also had as well season 11 decide the Constructors' Championship and also decide second place in the Drivers' Championship. And it's our third trip to the circuit, third time lucky. We will find out. We're getting the signal now to ready up. So let's go over what we have in store for us tonight. Our championship standings, George ahead of Paulo by 20 points. That championship battle might be fading away, but with a Brazil sprint coming up, we could have anything happen. Len and Mintoki, they are third and fourth. Anyone from eighth on down in the championship is eliminated, so we could be having more tonight, but that does not mean that we have the Drivers' Championship get clinched. We do have the Constructors' Championship that could get clinched, Beatnik, because McLaren's ahead of Mercedes by 64 points. If Mercedes score little to no points, while McLaren scores about maximum, we do have a Constructors' Championship being wrapped up. And Ferrari, third place, still have a slim chance to do it, but it seems out of reach.
Yeah,
Never say never.
Never say never, as Invade just said. Of course, he is speaking in the words of the Ferrari team principal, so he's always going to have hope there. If you want my opinion, it would take a miracle and a half, but
Yeah.
we're in the land of miracles tonight, so
Hit the jackpot.
you never know. Hey, the jackpots are mine. All you bugger off.
All right, who'll go gambling? How's that? Well, I did say I was going to go over headlines. So let's do that. So, Goldman has 2 qualifying bans to serve. He's not here tonight. You know who else is not here? Goatley, serving a race ban as well. Speaking of Goldman, he got a Haas contract for next season. He's also been dropped down to reserve for the rest of the season due to mutual agreement. Last night in the Tier 3 race, we had a Ferrari 1-2, and I was asked by Feda when commentating this race last week for Tier 2 if I could mention this on stream, and I've got permission to do so now. Before the Tier 2 race last week, we found out some news about a previous member of RPL having a parent pass away. It was Polish Hammer, and I'm very happy to see that if it was not anybody else, that'd be Ferrari 1-2 in the race yesterday. Very fitting for the team that he raced for. So I just wanted to kind of mention that as we recap yesterday's Tier 3 race, where Alex Norris was ahead of Shorts and then Timbet on the podium. We've got tonight Hyper being loaned out to Williams. We've got RPL Zakaria in the main Red Bull, which is a bit of a surprise there, but good to have Zakaria in that spot. Spangley in the V-Carb, Tier 3 driver. Timbed, Tier 3 driver in the Williams. Beatnik in the Sauber. We got... trying to see who else. I feel like there's an Aston missing. I think Maestro usually be in the Williams, but I could be wrong. Either way, that'd be the person. Yes, thank you. Ardell missing on the Aston, so Maestro is there. Alex Norris in the Haas once again. That means that I believe Titan Man did not show up. We've got Shorts in the Red Bull. Dingleberry Angle Grinder is Luke Range. That's quite the name to say, so we're just keeping an eye out for that. We're keeping it with just Luke Range. Previous league owner, 90-plus time winner in all tiers. Only won here once. First race here, in fact. It was F2 that he won. And Tesla in the Alpine.
It's gambling time now.
Yes, it is. Beatnik, I'm going to have you cover your own lap.
Okay, turn 1. This is not a public road. This is the property that they purchased for hundreds of millions of dollars from Las Vegas. And now onto the Koval Straight. Very long straight, very heavy traffic in this part of town. And then the DRS slams shut for turn whatever it is as we go into the Sphere section. Normally a parking lot, but not today. Holy traffic, that's terrible. Traffic not aiding my chances here. As we go on to Sands Avenue now.
I'll let you know that's RB.
Doesn't know how to get out of the way. We go past the Venetian Expo. Through Sands Avenue. Past a couple other hotels. And then we go on to the world-famous Las Vegas Boulevard. There's the Hard Rock Casino
the first
on
strip,
the
by
right.
the way, tonight.
Yes, the famous strip here. Caesar's Palace on the right. So many more famous hotels. The Bellagio, the Cosmopolitan, Paris, the Aria, Planet Hollywood. They're all there. And the DRS slams shut under the famous bridge that's been there for so long onto Harmon Avenue. Under these two temporary bridges, past the Top Gulf on the right, and then across the line for a lap that nobody cares about.
I think he did pretty good, Invade.
Me?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Beatnik. I think he did pretty good. I'm saying to you, I think he did pretty good.
Oh,
Red
right,
Bull
right,
1-2
right.
right now.
I'm
Well,
behind
Beatnik.
Dingleberry Angle Grinder. It's game over.
I
It's only
still can't get over that
2/10.
name. Yeah, only 2/10 in a Sauber, so not bad. Shorts and Zakaria make up 1-2 right now. The Night Owl Penguin. Invade. It's good to have you for
Yeah.
one, but for two, I think he knows his stuff quite well around the circuit. The home driver, isn't it safe to say? And your driver too.
I mean, definitely. The fact that you could commentate a lap while doing it is insane.
This is so fun. This race is going to be so fun. Well, once you get back to the pits, Beatnik, I'll let you go. But there's one thing I want to talk about with you before you do go. You had a photo finish here at TB by 2 milliseconds that was decided for a spot in the points when you were in the Williams around here in the first Tier 1 race ran here. Are you expecting maybe some other photo finishes tonight in the race that could have some implications on things? What are we expecting, Beatnik, before you go?
I'm expecting to putt around and then maybe get a P10 out of this. Just driving a Sauber today. Nothing serious. Nothing special.
You would have yesterday. You would have drove one yesterday.
Yeah, but a certain team principal told me I had to drive a Haas.
Oh.
You got a P6 though.
Yeah, very true.
It was
Very true.
It was a solid result, I will admit. But I'm expecting to just to have some fun today.
There you go. It's always
It's
fun.
just great to be here. I love driving this track every day. Every time I get
Polo
to drive here, it's just so much fun. And Polo invalidating, wow, elbozo.
I do want to say though, Kieran had a sexual slipstream from Polo God this whole lap.
And it's
And
delayed,
Oh,
but
yeah, there we are.
get to see it now. Yeah, 7th place for Kieran. That could mean something. We don't know. But Matoki is on a lap. Our pole sitter 4 times this season. Beatnik, one last question as she goes down the strip. I must ask, what avenue or boulevard is your favorite? What street name is your favorite? Or, well, street in itself, because you have driven these streets in a real car.
Well, if the traffic wasn't so awful, I would say Las Vegas Boulevard, just for the sake of all the sights that there are to see. And I will say, I drove on the strip when the city was shut down in 2020. That was one of the most. It was one of the most creepy things I have ever done in my life. Having no traffic on the Las Vegas Strip is one of the most terrifying things, just for the sake of you're never gonna see that ever again. And
Yeah, that's quite the sight, I must say.
while terrifying, it was also really cool at the same time. But if I
There you
had
go.
to pick a favorite, I mean, it's got to be Las Vegas Boulevard.
right.
Sands Avenue, a close second. There's a lot of really cool buildings there. You got the Venetian Expo, you got the Sphere, and that's just the name too. Two of the most popular ones right there. So many sights to
yeah.
see around this track, and I've been to almost all of them. It's just
Well, it was good to
so
have you
surreal.
during a lap, I must say. It was good to have you during a lap, and best of luck in tonight's race for the home driver Beatnik, who joined us. We'll hopefully talk to you afterwards when the stream is done and over with. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Nick.
Thank you. Have some fun commentating, guys.
Will do.
Invade, we're riding on board with your Tier 3 driver and teammate Alex Norris. He's going down the strip now. And the interesting thing I want to talk about down the strip, and I spoke about it during yesterday's Tier 3 race, is he applies DRS, is you're going to have less than 50% ERS down the strip no matter what into Sector 3, which he's going through now. But the other interesting thing about it, though, is it was DRS tactics between GTK, TB, and KVS that resulted in changes on the podium on the last lap. I'm interested to see if we'll see the same thing tonight, but Alex Norris will set a lap now. He'll be behind Ferrari
Ooh.
Penguin, but a very good lap indeed for both Haas drivers now, it must be said.
That's very good. 31-1. That was close to the lap I did yesterday in Tier 3. So very, very nice showing from Alex Norris so far.
Remember, F1 Shorts was on the pole yesterday in Tier 3 race. As Beatnik mentioned, that corner Lennon just went through is one that drivers, whether it be Tier 2 or Tier 3 this weekend, they have mentioned having trouble so much in that section that they think it's going to continue all over to the race. And it may actually have implications on deciding the finish. Lennon, 60% in the battery. We've got one more braking zone to go. I'll have you cover this one.
Yeah, he's taken that very lovely on the limit. He's hit the apexes beautifully. He's got a lot of ERS. He could have used a bit more, but he's got the usage all the way down. He's going to use it to the line, and he is going to get a 31.5 behind George.
I feel like Lennon's qualifying this season have not been that great, but he's had some decent races to back it up, especially last week in Mexico. Was qualified by teammate Mentoki by a long mile. And then once the rain came, Lennon did find a way to beat teammate Mentoki for third, fourth place, something like that in the end.
With Lennon, I believe he's more of the race merchant, as obviously his teammate Mentoki is very, very strong in the quali session, but I feel like Lennon has the upper edge in the race.
Agreed.
So he recovers the quali. He recovers the poor quality pace with the very strong race pace.
Just went very deep. We both were watching the same driver, and I was just going to say,
yeah,
those curbs on the inside are very tough on the driver, even the right side curb, because if you go over it too much, you could invalidate there. And something I did notice in the Tier 3 race last night, and we just saw it now, those drivers try to avoid those curbs, and sometimes it backfires. Right there, it backfired. We have a Williams and a Ferrari crossing. That's Penguin moving up to third. I think Timbed may have just slightly moved up, but we will see the curbs be a big part of tonight's race, Invade, because in Sector 2, you want to use them quite a bit, whereas in Sector 3 there, where Woodha went through, you want to avoid them a little bit, but not like that.
Yeah, definitely. You have to abuse the curbs in Sector 2, and that's a banging lap from Shorts.
We just saw both Williams give a slipstream to each other right in front of Paulo God. Speaking of Paulo God, the two McLaren teammates gave slipstreams last night with Netsky and Fusion, and I know that didn't decide the pole position, which Shorts just went up to and beat his lap he had, but I'll tell you right now, slipstream will be a big talking point tonight, whether it's the race or qualifying.
Definitely, slipstream was strong yesterday, as I was trying to get one off Alex Norris, but failed yesterday, and Tiro managed to nab one off me and beat me in the positions.
Paulo God, big slide there in the last braking zone of Sector 2. He turns on the battery right before applying DRS. And I'll tell you right now, I'm not sure if him turning on battery was part of panic or not, but Blonde, who joins this session on loan to Alpine tonight, has retired from the session as he probably was not able to take control. Unfortunate for him, Paulo got a few more corners to go, and he invalidates once again in the same section he did earlier, so the pressure is getting to the second place man in the championship, and we do have the second Ferrari here tonight, up FX7 Danny now. Piper, on loan, goes up to 7th. He was the one we were talking about getting the slipstream moments ago. Big lap for him, also a big lap for the stake of Beatnik.
I know Hyper was saying he was struggling a lot before this race, and to see him in 7th is definitely a very nice surprise. Saying he's a lone driver from me, he's got a contract for next season.
Mentoki is going to miss out on getting to the front row and or a potential 5th pole position on the season. 3rd, though, is not bad, and I'll tell you right now, we spoke about it before Invade, but we're going to watch the Mercs and Astons tonight, maybe the McLarens, because the straight line speed on those cars are not at all beneficial to this circuit, let alone what could be their race tonight, so they have to qualify well.
Definitely. Other cars with poor straight line speed being the Haas as well. Haas will be awful in the straight for Alex and Kieran alongside the Mercs, as they are the worst two cars for the straight line speed.
Maestro's dipping off to the pits. Wood is on a lap. I want to mention Wood a moment here. He was in the Ferrari last week. Didn't make the most of it because he was put in it last moment. But this corner right here, you want to take more inside curve than he did right there. If you don't, you want to prioritize the exit. It looks like he didn't really do a good job of that. But this sphere section is so tough in the rear locking. Look at him trying to cut the curbs here. You have to ride these curbs in order to find time. And this section, you're going to be in medium on the ERS. But that right there, you've got to get it to overtake immediately and have a good set of, I would say, throttle application in order to power the traction out of there to get set up for this section right here. It just looks like what is turning is a bit off, if you notice this right here, because it feels like he's turning more aggressively than he should be.
If you don't mind me butting in, Wood is using no line. He's recently changed laps.
So that would make sense. But down the strip he goes. This looks like a lap. I didn't necessarily see what the sector split is, but this looks like a lap that he can get up there on, maybe just under the top 10 or 12. And that wouldn't be a bad effort considering that you just mentioned he's on no line. Using battery right before the start finish, and look at that, deployment used. We'll see a lot of that tonight, but he does set a lap that's 13th fastest, so not far off the top 10 at all. We got final laps being started. Dingleberry Angle Grinder has joined back the session. That's Luke Range.
Spangley's going to be next.
Alex Norris is backing off, so we're going to go to Spangley. He's 5/10 up. Not a bad result in the Red Bull in Tier 3, reserving up there. He's a full-time V-Carb driver, so he loves this car quite a bit in terms of what he knows and what he doesn't know. But what he does know now is that he's not gaining any places. He stays 16th fastest. When the Red Bulls get to the line, we'll watch them. But I think they're trying to hook up something magical here. Look at this. Bumping. Zakaria bumping Shorts. Bumping him. Passing him. Or is he?
Two drivers who just started a lap. Danny and I think it's Kieran, maybe. Both giving. Danny's given a massive slipstream to Kieran for this whole lap.
That tow will be a big talking point, as we mentioned, and we will see how drivers use it to the affection right there. Zakaria right now looking for a pole position, but down in the first sector. Shorts obviously backed off because he wants to help other slipstream next time by. So that's what that's about.
Danny's not going to have a lap.
Yeah, there you go.
He's
invalidated. Yeah.
Yep.
We're going to see how much time there is to get back to the checkered flag. 1.5 minutes. So he needs to find out something here, but he's going to run out of fuel. The only hope he has is maybe to tow his teammate for what's going to be the final lap. And I think he's trying to start that right there. We'll see how that goes. Zakaria hasn't validated, so him and Shorts will have to go once again. But Zakaria is already low on the fuel, so he might be done here. We're going to watch the Ferraris to see what they do in terms of slipstream right there. The teammate is waiting far in the background. Deployment used for Danny. That's it.
Wow.
And Kieran, 5th fastest. Really good track from a really good effort there. Top 5 for the Haas driver. Haas have a podium here back in Season 9 Tier 2. It's their most recent one.
That slipstream Kieran just had is insane.
Shorts is in, Zakaria's in. Both of them are pitting. It's down to the guys 3rd or lower to dispatch any of them. Danny pulls out of the way, so you were right about that. Danny will not get a final lap in. He's plumb last. Penguins down. Mintoki is starting one. Night Owl. I think he's getting a tow. It's off the Williams driver in front of him. But he's not just getting the tow. He's getting pulled around this circuit from the Williams in front. This Williams in front is not getting out of his way yet. I think he will just now. Look at this. This might be a bit of a blockage. I think they've not timed this right. Night Owl has backed off. That is it from him. So he will stay 6th fastest at the best. But the issue for him is he's going to be starting behind a Haas regardless of the scenarios here. Checkered flag is out. Our first car crossing will be Torn Penguin. And it does not seem like it's much of an improvement right now. He's going to have to find it all in the final sector.
He doesn't have a slipstream. That's the major problem about this.
45% on the battery. He could use a bit more here. Come into the checkered flag. He's going to do just that. More cars as well behind. We'll see what our championship leader, George L. Williams, is doing. Down in 8th. Polo God down in 17th. Unusual for McLaren. But the Ferrari of Penguin does not find time. No improvement. Mintoki's going to get slipstream, but she's down. She's backed off. So it's going to be down to George L. Williams here, getting a tow from teammate Polo God. Both the 1-2 in the championship, helping each other out. Polo God moving to the right side of the circuit. Now we got cars crossing the line now for the checkered flag. Hyper did not improve. More crossing. Kieran to the pits.
Polo invalidated.
Again, so he'll be down in 18th, Polo will. George is down, but this tow might help him improve some places. Crossing the line now. What's it going to be? George L. Williams is only 5th. The championship leader is in an unusual place on our grid. That is very unfortunate for Beatnik, though, who has lost a lap there. F1 Shorts, the youngest driver in the field. His first start in a top car in Tier 2. He's already moving there next season. Pole position for the second time this weekend. It's coming after his first pole that happened yesterday in Tier 3. It's another one too, but this time it's Red Bull he's with, not Ferrari.
Shout out to the Haas boys, by the way. P6, P8.
That's not where you'd see that car placed, and around this circuit with terrible straight line speed, they're in a great spot for the race.
Definitely so.
So it's F1 Shorts on pole. It's a Dutch front row. Zakaria has never been on pole, but he's on the front row once again in RPL. This is the first time that he's been on the front row since Season 5 Tier 2. Quite a good start for Zakaria. Mintoki 3rd, Penguin 4th, George down in 5th there. Kieran 6th, Night Owl 7th, Alex, Hyper, and Beatnik running up the top 10. Some nice qualifyings there, but tell us about outside the top 10, Invade.
Outside the top 10, we have midfield Maestro. He's not in the ideal position for his car. We also have Polo God at the back. It's not going to help his championship fight. And we also have Danny right at the rear of the field. He's not going to be able to help his teammate out, but luckily enough, his teammate does have the 2 Hasses with him. So hopefully all 3 of those drivers can make it into the points.
Red Bull are back on pole, by the way. They've not had a single pole position this season, but they do it in Las Vegas. Very good effort there. Zakaria as well. Very good effort there. He could be on for his first win tonight. And George Williams back there in 5th. Hopefully he's setting himself up for the race, but that's not usual. Although he does not usually have the qualifying pace, that's not usual to see George behind drivers like Zakaria, even Shorts.
Shorts was a massive surprise that session, saying he's a Tier 3 driver and he's taken pole in Tier 2 in his first start in the top cars, as you said. Very, very well done for Shorts.
Yeah, I do not think that was a possibility, but with the mistakes we saw from Polo, Lennon down there, George not up there, you got to take advantage. We've got 12 seconds until lights out here, Invade. What are we expecting for the start?
Chaos, a lot of switching in positions. Hopefully a good, clean first lap. Hopefully no one goes spinning.
It's our 3rd time in Las Vegas for Tier 2, and the 5 red lights are coming on for the 2nd time in 2025. Lights out, away we go. Kieran, Spangley, drive-thrus already handed out to both of them. Shorts leading, but Zakaria diving down the side. In the 5 years of RPL, Zakaria's never won, so he's going to be bold, and he gets shoved into the wall. Contact! Zakaria goes spinning off. Zakaria, who we mentioned, could have won if he had the chance, but now he's down the grid, and so is Luke Range as well. Shorts leading, Penguin 2nd, and Kieran, although he has a drive-through, is up to P3. Oh, he gets blocked off by the Ferrari. George looks to take advantage and doesn't, but
Alex
Shorts
Norris
has gapped him by a second, and both Haas drivers up to an amazing start.
Oh!
Look at the positions gained. We got it on our screen right now. Beatnik up places. Tesswell up places, and that's Hyper who was up places, but now down and out of it. Down outside the points. He had a massive tank slapper there. Short started gap DRS. Oh, we have multiple cars going wide. Contact! Mercedes of Lennon into the wall and off. Danny may have collected something from it too, but I don't think it was him who got out worse. It was Lennon. Damage in the wall. Chaos on the first lap so far. Kieran will have to serve a drive-through, but guess who could get on the podium because of it? Alex Norris.
This is really gutting for Kieran. It was an amazing qualifying for him and an amazing start. It's just a shame that he jumped a little bit too early, as midfield macho does get past Tess Will on his debut.
We got lots of contact in the midfield. They're still not finding out these places. Elbows out everywhere. Lap 1 complete. Shorts is a 2.5 second gap already. Alex Norris getting egregious with George, riding the back of him right there into the corner. Kieran not serving his drive through yet. He wants to be in the way of George and help his teammate here of Alex Norris. Smart there, right there, but you got to keep it clean. 2.4 the gap. Shorts on loan, doing an amazing job. But behind him, it's all happening. Kieran ahead of Penguin. Kieran up to second place for Haas.
I'll be back in a moment.
Invade's got to be loving this as a team principal. As you could see, 13 places lost for Zakaria. An absolute nightmare of a start for the Dutchman. He could have got a 1-2 with the other Dutchman of Shorts. But the interesting thing there is that that's done and out of it. Zakaria, unless there's a safety car, he's got no chance to get a good result in this race. Maybe just a recovery drive at that. Danny up 9. He's gained the most, and he got one just right there. This midfield going into this section last time by and down the strip was absolute utter chaos. They could not find out what place they wanted to be in, and they were just all gaggling around the place to try and find the positions. Polo only up 1 spot for McLaren. So one of the days that McLaren could be gaining on Mercedes and the constructors, they're not really doing that to what they could be. And also they could have won the constructors tonight, but game over for that. Kieran gets overtaken by Penguin, and now Kieran should be serving his drive through this time, or else he may be dinged for disqualification. Kieran is peeling off, and he might go, but he's blocking off George. So Kieran's going to wait 1 more lap to serve this drive-through, but it's being a pain in George right now there to try and get by, and George is cutting off Alex Norris there for the place. Let's give you the tires as we trade the fastest lap numerous times here on the second lap.
Right, I'm back now.
Spengley's in. Spengley's in for damage. And this pit lane's a tricky one, but he got it in just in time. Alex Norris, overtake on use behind George at Williams. George goes protective side by side here into the braking zone. Alex had George moving over, and Alex had to move back over to not hit George. But good racing right there. No foul, fair play.
For Alex.
Yeah, because he did have to cut the inside, but I would guess he could get that removed. Look who's also in the train. All the drivers going down to 11th right here. Danny up 9.
Brilliant start for Danny. Can't say the same for Zakaria though.
Yeah, I know, and he got spun around right there. That could be going to the stewards, but nonetheless, it's not going to change his race. Very unfortunate end to what could have been maybe a battling for a first career win in RPL for Zakaria. Speaking of him, side by side with Beatnik, Zakaria gets shoved out wide there and has to back off. Timbed takes advantage. Test Will trying to take advantage. Up in front of that, Alex Norris still not done with Georgia Williams.
3 wide.
3 wide down the strip. Does never end well, but it might this time. More 3 wide, further back. Zakaria in the mix. He's going to try a Daniel Ricciardo style overtake here. He's got 2 of them, but not 3. And Kieran has to pit this time. Spengley went in for the drive-through last time. Kieran's turn this time.
This is really gutting for Kieran.
But you know who it helps regardless? F1 Shorts. 1.9 the gap, and if you were here with us last week in F2, in his first F2 start, he lost that race. But I must say, he seems to be getting a lot of racecraft, a lot of race pace, and a lot of confidence in Invade. He's just got to lock in now, and he has a chance. Even if the train gains on him, he's got to play it smart. 1.6, that gap is deteriorating.
Yeah, definitely. He needs to make sure he doesn't panic and stay calm, and he's got the gap. He's on the better tyres for right now. Hopefully, he can maintain that gap as Wood gets a penalty.
Yeah, it won't be the first one, I'm sure. We had a few track limit penalties last night in the race, and Spengley into the pit lane. Game over for him. He's our first retirement of the day. Super unfortunate under the lights in Las Vegas to be out of this already on lap 4. 1.6 the gap between the leaders, now 1.8. We're going to see if this train can gain on our leader F1 Shorts. We did not have a lot of DRS trains last night in Tier 3, but just remember, it's F1 24.
Mintoki.
You need a DRS train in order to gain. And speaking of gaining, Mintoki's up a place.
Mintoki might get George here. No, never mind.
Well, no, yeah, you're right.
If you
Night Owl.
because if you go side by side through here, you'll lose at least a second.
And there you go. Night Owl got it done just in time there on Test Will and Timbed. The same with Zakaria. I must say, with some of the running order here in Invade, it does feel like an equal performance car league race with the way we're going.
Yeah, I know. We see Williams flirting on the top 10 here.
Both Williams and Saubers were
that
battling quite a bit earlier. Yeah, exactly. Polo on the back of Timbed now. Zakaria is into the pit lane. I think this is to repair some damage. No, it's Hards early. He saw what you did yesterday and said, hold on, let me replicate that.
Yeah, definitely the undercut is very powerful around here. As Polo gets another position up to 11th.
He desperately needs that, but he's got to keep it around the outside. Timbed tried to go there, but couldn't pull it off. Here's Luke Range getting beatnik. 2 former teammates right there. 2 former Tier 1 winners battling it out. Also 2 former winners of this tier as well. Polo, 3.9 seconds back. I mean, he's positioned off the points, but it's not out of the question that he could still get a point or something from this race, but he's got to play his cards beautifully. Matoki is right on the back of George Williams right here. And for a driver that feels like she can only get pole positions, but not figure out the strategy during the races, on the same strategy as George, who seems to always get it right, she's got a perfect chance to get a good result here.
Just commenting on Polo, I'm surprised he actually went to the hards because I believe he should have done what Danny did and probably go for an undercut because something like this was bound to happen. A massive break in the train. So if he went to the mediums, he could have had an undercut and get into this train.
Yeah, but if you go hards the rest of the way, I think... Oh, we have an incident. That is Luke Range off at the first braking zone in Sector 3. It doesn't appear to have damage, but it's going to damage his race, that's for sure. I was just going to say, if you go hards and go the whole way, you could get the chance of a safety car potentially happening. And even if it's not a safety car, you could be affected similar to Monaco levels if the DRS train tends to battle too much by somebody holding it up. And I'll tell you right now, I say Monaco levels because if you constantly play your ERS right and you intentionally mess up the train, it will have an effect on who comes out where. Although you did say the undercut is powerful. 1 second now the gap. Penguin might just be in DRS, but that's Matoki going out wide there, having a huge moment behind George Williams.
Alex Norris is going to be sniffing at this opportunity here.
So, although he's going to be,
ERS.
I'm interested to know from you as a team principal, how do you handle this if you're Penguin or Alex? Because Shorts is a Ferrari Academy driver, but he's on loan.
Realistically, just battle it out, try keep it clean, keep it civil, see what happens.
We've got battles right here. Both Aston Martins wanted to swap some places. They didn't. We had Mintoki on the back of George. Nothing gained or lost right there. Beatnik has lagged out now as well. 3/10 the gap between our leaders. Shorts still hangs on lap 6, but his lead might be disappearing here. Remember, he took advantage of the lap 1 chaos, and also his teammate got spun around, giving him a second lead. But the battling that was second on back, even with teammate Kieran, disrupted everything. But now Shorts, the 2-second lead he had, it's all gone. Here's Penguin boosting to try and get the lead or to hold off George. Either or is a possibility. Look at that in the braking zone. Lots of moving around, a little bit of wheel banging, but all is sorted here as we get down to turn 5.
Oh, Mintoki.
She'll go for it around the outside there. Yep. Not going to pull it off here as we get to the sphere. You have something
the heart is definitely warmed up now.
Yeah, and I think it's lap 8 for sure that you'll start to see those hards be the benefiting tire over the mediums right here. Lots of moving around before it gets to the DRS. Very interesting there. Just remember, though, if you're Shorts, you have to play the long game. Whether it's with your ERS, whatever it may be, you have to manage this right if you want the victory. And he's pulling over, letting him go on none ERS, and giving Penguin the lead of the race, our second leader, but George is there. Mintoki's there, almost 4 wide for the lead momentarily. It's F1 Shorts, Penguin, George, 3 wide there, and they're all going to try and trade it down to the braking zone. Who's going to get the lead? It's George Williams.
Oh,
contact! Shorts is off. There's a Bullard destroyed. Maestro lost a place, and Penguin is down to 4th.
You know what Shorts did there? He got the DRS. He did a JTK.
But he did not get the lead from it. George, who had the DRS as well, got the lead over Penguin, who was kind of compromised. Piper is in. Beatnik's been overtaken. Danny up to 5th. Look at Danny with his start here. Down from P20. Night Owl right in the back of him as well. Trying to get by but can't. Oh, taps him. Nudging in the braking zone. More nudging. There's Alex Norris shoving his way through now on the Aston Martin. That was the car he got the podium with on loan in Hungary. But he's saying, I'd like to actually stick with my academy this time and try and help them out. Night Owl's in a sandwich.
You know who else is in a sandwich? Alex Norris, Aston Martin sandwich, and Tess Will, by the way, underrated drive so far. On his debut, he's still in this lead train.
So the pack is all tightened up once again here for the strip. George F. Williams letting F1 Shorts go this time. Beatnik lags out once again. Mitoki's going to be the leader of the train, and she will be the one left without DRS. So they're playing their tactics beautifully. They learned from JTK, the former Tier 2 champion, from last time in the Tier 1 race here. 4 wide momentarily. Mitoki's a sitting duck. It's Torn Penguin to the lead of the race this time. Everybody going by everybody, and you could say everybody getting passed by everybody the way it's going. Side by side there usually slows you down. It slowed Night Owl down. He's lost time to George.
Fair play to Night Owl. He got a couple of positions in that.
Polo penalty. That's crucial for McLaren, whether it's the Drivers' Championship for second or first, or the Constructors' Championship. They will not be running it today with the way they're going. Side by side there at turn 1. Mintoki getting the upper edge there. She was first at the start of that straight. Now she's down in 5th. I think in the entire time we go down that strip, we're basically going to be seeing a NASCAR race up and down that strip the whole race if we continue like this.
This is extremely smart by Midfield Maestro, by the way. I believe because of this undercut, he's got the clean air. I think he could take the lead here. And look at Penguin and Shorts. Penguin and Shorts, the gap's nearly a second.
I think Shorts backed off there, or just saved DRS in that section to get Shorts back in DRS. He knows he wants Shorts close to him because although Shorts is on loan, he does not have to abide by the Red Bull Academy rules. He can help the Ferrari Academy there. And I must say, Shorts is getting better racecraft by the minute ahead of Tier 2 next season. He backed off there, and so did George. Both them backed off there for the DRS, playing the games right there. Let Mintoki be a sitting duck. She's down in 5th now. Both Shorts and George are 2nd and 3rd. It's all about how you play these mind games, but you have to be smart about it, not to hit the other driver. You'll get penalized for that, but also to help your own race and save battery at the same time. That's Lemon, who did not improve on his qualifying whatsoever, it seems, compared to Mexico, being overtaken there for what's 12th place. And the winner in Singapore a few weeks ago, not having the best of times under the lights here, and Alex Norris, he's in early. I think he realized that he needed to get out of that train, and he did it at a good time.
In all fairness, Kieran, after having that drive-through, has got onto the back of Lennon and Luke. So, fair play to Kieran.
George F. Williams pulls off the overtake on F1 Shorts, diving to the inside there and hitting the wall on the corner exit. Shorts is a big tank slapper. He's just trying to hold on for 3rd now and keep the DRS. Side by side with Night Owl, he does keep ahead, but side by side action here, tight in these streets, and that section specifically is very, very tough to keep it without contact. They did a very great job doing just that. More lag outs. I mean, you could just see right now, by the way, the tires kicking in for what? Whether it's Shorts on... I think Beatnik was one of them. You'd have to clip the stream to see who else did. But I was just going to say, Invade, you could definitely see with Shorts, 1 for 1, starting on the mediums, but also his qualifying pace really showing right now compared to his race pace. And he's getting overtaken right now for 3rd by Night Owl, our winner last week in Mexico, going by. George F. Williams, the championship leader, not going by. Yeah, there you go. Shorts from 2nd to 5th now.
Danny's hoping to get back into that DRS.
Mintoki somehow kept it out of the wall right there, but that section is tough, as you said. It's very tough. You go side by side there, you lose time, and Woda has been overtaken not just by 1, but by 2 cars on that straight. And you mentioned Maestro. He just got jumped by Alex Norris. Woo!
Danny and Tess Will are now into the box.
Polo is in as well. This is early, but he realized he was losing so much pace. And I think if he actually had the pace in that McLaren, he would have gained on that train, but he's not got the pace, so he didn't.
This is
Out of
very
the pits,
unlike
here we
Polo.
go. Yeah, this is not like him. One of his worst circuits, it seems to be tonight. Alex Norris side by side of the pit lane with Danny. They're going 3 abreast momentarily. Now Alex Norris is playing a little squeeze play in the middle, but now he puts Danny in the middle. There goes midfield Maestro overtaking both cars. You're right. This is not like Polo, and I must say, any hopes of this championship continuing on to Australia and Brazil next week's races, it's probably over and done with.
I do have to say, now the 4 cars who were boxed from the lead pack, midfield Maestro, Danny, Alex, and Tess Will, they all they shouldn't battle, and they should get the jump on the rest of the field. If they battle,
they gotta be smart about it. Speaking of battling, 3 wide for the race lead. George up, Williams through. Night Owl trying to put some pressure on the McLaren lead driver. And speaking of McLaren lead driver, every single time these two have finished on the podium, it seems like it's either 1-2 or 1-3. These two never seem to be off the podium when Night Owl's on it. They're both on there no matter what the scenario is. 3 wide, maybe down that straight we saw. Either way, Alex Norris, Danny, Maestro is the order. There you go. He needed to get that pit stop done. He's got it out of the way. I think that train back there with Norris, Danny, Maestro, and Testwell, they might battle, but they've got to be smart about it. Do not try and overtake or make it worse for each other in the corner. And there you go. Yeah. He might be clear by a second. He will be.
Yeah, but you're going to have cold tires, so let's see if Alex Norris can get into that gap.
Maestro at a moment. Testwell goes through, but Testwell, as you can see on our screens, has fuel mode that is in the yellow, meaning he's going to have to save fuel. Yellow flags further on back.
It was Hyper.
Hyper. And he's off again. That could be a VSC, but the VSC has not been deployed yet and probably won't be, but he'll have to get back to the pit lane and repair that front wing. DRS now down the strip. Night Owl has it. George does not. Night Owl going through this time. He's got Penguin and Mitoki waiting in the wings. Will we see 3 wide once again? Right now we don't. Hyper's out. That's on track. Safety car. Safety car deployed.
Penguin
and
just
Night
got
Owl
George.
got the lead. And Penguin got George. You're right. So Crucial overtakes at a really good time. But Shorts, Alex, Danny, Testwell, Maestro, and even Polo put their strategies out of the window. It does not matter now.
Yeah.
You know who gets a really good advantage now, though? Blonde.
Who? Yeah.
Luke. Lennon. They needed that. Blonde from a bad qualifying. Not even getting to qualify. Lennon from a bad qualifying. Luke from a bad qualifying. Medium tires going on all these drivers. See, although I didn't get the chance to get past this lap in Tier 3 yesterday, this is exactly why I wish I started on hards instead of mediums. F1 Shorts, side by side out of the pit lane, may have just nagged second place on Penguin, but he has to let him go! Whoa! Alex Norris got 4th, though, and he's crucially ahead of George F. Williams. Polo is in. Zakaria is in. Other drivers pitting as well who didn't have to, but they did. Mintoki got passed by Danny and Testwell. So, although drivers like Mintoki and George got a free pit stop, it does not mean you get the chance of being ahead of drivers who already pitted and got the massive undercut. You were talking about that undercut. It probably would have been more powerful if it weren't for the safety car, but advantage to those on the mediums nonetheless.
Definitely so. But lucky enough for Tom Penguin, he does have 2 academy teammates around George. Obviously, he'll have to deal with Shorts and Night Owl, but he's got 2 academy teammates rear gunning him right now.
Polo said, worst track I've driven in an F1 game. Obviously, he's, upset about the situation he is in. Beatnik trying to join back, but he said it won't let him take control, so he's just watching his car drive around this circuit at his home race without getting an opportunity to just say something about it. Halfway now, but also Zakaria had something to chime in about on the lap 1 incident. He was not surprised about it, but very frustrated, and said it might be desync, just super unlucky.
Shout out to Alpine, by the way. Double points at the moment.
Remember, Blonde had to come in late. His car got retired because of it. Tespol qualified down in 12th. So both of this happening from outside the top 10, now inside the top 10. Speaking of that, Danny up 14 places. He's had 4 podiums prior. It would be great to see a first career win under the lights here in Vegas.
Definitely so. We'd love a first win.
Could come from Alex Norris, could come from Shorts. Mintoki has won, but she's never won with Mercedes. George has won before. He'd be extending the championship lead with it, but it'd be very unusual to see him win in the circumstances he's at, because he got overtaken by 2 cars who pitted already, who will be in his way, and 2 cars are ahead of him who were on the same strategy and pitted the same lap and got the cheap free pit stop that he did as well. So I've got to wonder, although Shorts is not in a top car for next season, same with Alex Norris, does being up here regardless of the car you're in right now help you for next season as a tier 3 driver? Both them 1-2 yesterday. Shorts behind Alex Norris. Right now he's ahead. Does this help you for the pressure in a tier you're not full-time in yet, but will be soon?
Definitely. This is definitely proving that you're ready for tier 2. You're ready to make the step up, and you're ready to be at the front of tier 2.
Speaking of that, Fusion will be full-time at McLaren next season, and I'm sure he'll be loving to see both these two up here because he knows he's similar pace to these two, and that he can do it too. But he's in the McLaren compared to what cars these guys, 3rd and 4th, are in next season, being promoted from tier 3. So I'm sure he'll be watching back this race or some of these races and seeing what they did or seeing what tier 2 does differently than tier 3. He'll be teammates with Polo, who he was teammates with before in a short stint at Ferrari for a few races. But next season's stuff, very interesting. Right now, this is this season and this moment where the safety car is in this lap. Night Owl, the leader, trying to win back-to-back, and he'd be undefeated in 2025 if he does just that. So just a reminder, folks, as the safety car is in this lap, the remainder of the weekend will continue tomorrow with Hungary at F1 at Hungary. Short's got a 10-second there for a collision.
Whoa.
And Las Vegas continuing the weekend for Formula 2 to end off the weekend. Night Owl leads, but Shorts will be compromised by that 10-second. He's going to go racing regardless because he knows he can get that removed. Green flag's back out. We're racing again. And Georgia Williams, very smart, putting the pressure on Alex and then trying to overtake after the line, which he cannot do before the line.
He's got to switch back.
And he got through. He got through. Alex Norris can't do anything about it. Georgia Williams will be on the recovery drive from being back there behind 2 cars that probably could have never been in front of him if it weren't for the scenarios, or would have never stayed in front of him. He's making the most of it. Danny through for 5th. Alex Norris, a big help to teammate there. Here's a battle for 10th. Side by side, both trains of cars are side by side there into the sphere section.
Lennon gets past Zakaria.
And we're going to go side by side here, where it just never ends. Well, we had a 3-wide collision in the Tier 1 race here. The first time we were here on a safety car restart. We keep it clean there. Blonde is overtaken. Blonde might be overtaken once again. Lennon tried to put the front wing on his rear wheel, and it might result in a disastrous crash. Luckily, somehow not, but wheel banging at high speed is never great there. Wow. Must say, Georgia Williams here running 4th, trying to get redemption for the Season 9 Tier 2 race, which he lost out on a last lap photo finish fight. Would be great to see that happen today, but right now he's got to pass Shorts, who's up in front of him, trying to pounce on Penguin.
Zakaria gets past Blonde.
It's all happening behind Mintoki. Look at this. Zakaria, Lennon, side by side there. More wheel banging. Polo on the inside of Blonde. Gets cut off right there. Lots of action here in the midfield. Some of these guys shouldn't even be in the midfield like Polo and Lennon. Polo overtaken once again. Polo down in 16th in a McLaren, the 2nd place man in the championship. Overtaken by Wooda now. Oh! Contact! He's split in the middle. Kieran now wheel banging with him. Wooda's off. But Polo back through. He's being eaten alive here. Polo's having an absolute nightmare of a race, while Mintoki gets the upper edge on 1. Couldn't do it on 2.
As Alex Norris has now lost DRS to Danny now. So now it's a top 5 train for the lead.
Danny,
And Danny gets a pen. Oh.
That's costly. That will affect him. He was gaining 15 places from his qualifying spot and would have kept it and maybe gained on it more, but cannot do the same with the penalty now in hand. Georgia Williams hounding the back of Shorts now. He's putting pressure on this young driver. Yeah, 9/10. He'll have the DRS right there. Down the strip. And as we go stripping down the strip, DRS will be applied. Mintoki ahead of Alex Norris. That's for 6th. She's out of the DRS train. Alex Norris overtaken by another. That's Tesswell. Zakaria up into the points once again. So we talked about a potential comeback drive. It's on. Oh, lots of sliding off of that corner, whether it be the traction, the setup. They're not having a fun time there, but Georgia Williams nags the fastest lap. Lap 17, Alex Norris now trying to get back 7th place. Remember, he's on the compromise strategy due to the safety car.
Yeah, everyone on the HODs is going to be struggling. As you can see, George is all over the back of Shorts, who's the highest hard runner right now. And
Shorts will not care about that penalty. Just remember that. Shorts will not care about that penalty. Can get the 10-second removed. But it's not guaranteed.
Someone just pointed out in chat, Shorts might be helping out Penguin.
He'll give Penguin a free chance to fight for the victory if that is the case, but Shorts, if he does get the penalty removed, would be on for a first Tier 2 podium. And what's technically his first Tier 2 season, although he'd be a rookie next season. He's a reserve this season as we see Sergio Perez in the background.
It's now a top 4 train as Mintoki is now all over the back of Danny.
She needs to get by, and that train needs to work together to gain on these front 4. Look at the positions about to swap. Penguin turning on the Jets, going through. Penguin to the lead. On lap 17 of the Las Vegas Grand Prix, Maestro also gets the cars that he was fighting. Zakaria also shoots one up the inside and gets it done. So it's all happening before the calm, before the storm, I guess you could say. And the leaders under a second.
Shorts putting pressure on Night Owl. He's going to look around the outside.
He has to do this. He has to do this. He knows what's at stake. George also putting in the fight. Zakaria still with Alex Norris. Alex Norris protecting on Luke now for the last point. Ooh. Oh, Shorts punched the back of the Aston right there into the braking zone. Almost got it all wrong under braking. Alex Norris under braking cannot get by Luke Range. Yellow flag. That is for Polo God. Into the wall. The second place man in the championship is in trouble once again. Oh, what a disastrous night for the Irishman.
All right. Shorts is gonna get on the back of Night Owl and Penguin. Night Owl's actually gonna be looking at Penguin. Is he gonna get it before the DRS? Yes, he is gonna get it before the DRS. And George is now gonna go past Shorts. Finally, he gets the overtake. Is he gonna look at Penguin? No, he can't get that overtake, and he just gets ahead of Shorts. As Luke does get past midfield Maestro.
Shorts on the back of George right now. Thinking about it. George protecting. George going defensive. George gets a tap from Shorts' front wing, and it does again.
As I've just had a message, Buddha and Polo God actually had an incident.
That's not their first incident at all. They had an incident in Singapore, and I believe once prior as well. So no surprise there. Polo got out of the race. He's retired in the pit lane, and it's his first DNF of the season and non-points finish of the season. Polo God, second place man in the championship, is seeing his championship hopes and maybe second place hopes fading away.
Look at this. Mintoki and Danny are back in the lead train.
Danny has a penalty, but he will be a big help to the Ferrari Academy. Mintoki will be the help to Night Owl's hopes for the win. Blonde just got a 3-second there for cutting the corner. That's the driver in 13th, the prior Tier 2 champion, but that's troubling for him. And I think Beanick might be back in this session. Yes, he is.
Yep,
He'll
he
be fighting
definitely
his
is.
teammate. So he'll just have some fun like he said he was going to have prior, the home driver. 5/10 the gap, and there will be 6 laps to go this time. 6 drivers have a chance, 5 of them with a realistic one. You saw that moving around from Penguin. He's preparing himself. Zakaria up a place. Luke up a place. Oh, we're getting tight into the braking zone. Luke's pinching. Tystwill is side by side with him. There's more contact. Tystwill around. That's the contact model for you. The slight bit of contact put his car almost 180 degrees around. Good save. Very good save.
He's dropped down to 11th now. He was running the points the whole race. He was having a brilliant performance on debut.
That does mean Alpine's only chance of a points run is still going to come with him, but at a slimmer chance. Penguin moving around in the braking zone, just trying to find a way to pressure Night Owl here. And I think in this section at this point of the race, you can see some drivers already in that sense on the ERS. You have to put it in none here. You save 30% in the sphere right here in only these 3 set of corners by putting it in none. If these drivers do that, they will be setting themselves up perfectly for the final lap.
Definitely so. I've just watched George. He did it through medium through that whole section, and he didn't gain as much as if he would in none.
And Penguin was a none, so look at what he's at now. Almost 90% down the strip. So where do you want to be ahead of the last lap? Do you want to be in the catbird seat, or do you want to be leading here? Do you want to be the car behind, or do you want to be the car behind the car behind? Shorts on the back of George, who's trying to make the move on Penguin. Both have DRS. Side-by-side action here momentarily, but none of them are overtaking our leader. That is Night Owl still in front, and the driver who's still learning an O-line is having trouble. Zakaria side-by-side with teammate Luke. Zakaria upper edge ahead still, but that is very close quarter action.
During that time, Alex Norris did get past midfield Maestro.
5 laps to go, Invade. You gotta wonder, it's the calm before the storm, but are you setting yourself up now, or are you waiting to set yourself up for what's going to be the last lap here soon? It will come very quickly. Same amount of laps as Jeddah. It does not go by very, very long around this circuit for sure compared to Jeddah.
Same laps. To make sure you are the driver behind for that DRS detection zone. It's fine if you lead onto that back straight. You have to be behind for the DRS detection zone, as JTK did prove us last season in Tier 1.
Tadpole tried to do it in F2 as well during the Blue Goggy win race that he had in Season 19 F2, and he failed. He could not find a way to get behind the drivers that he was in front of. So you have to find a way, and right now, Night Owl, I think, is setting himself up just for that, just to be the one in front now and then get overtaken when that moment comes. And then have the DRS for the final lap.
Definitely so. Night Owl is not going to be enjoying leading. As George is burning to get past Penguin here.
Here we go. Oh! Contact! We were running aboard with Penguin, but that's massive movement down the straight, which results in Penguin losing a place. Zakaria leapfrogging Alex Norris, but they both come together almost. Luke Grange going through.
George is going to be looking at Night Owl here, but also defending from Penguin. Penguin round the outside. Is he going to get the move done? Penguin, he's going to have the balls to the walls. He gets the move done over George.
Big risk, big reward for Penguin right there. Shorts in the back of George right now. George knows he's got Ferrari Academy drivers on every side of him practically. Luke Grange, Alex Norris, Maestro, Zakaria, and also Testwell. 5-car scrap. It's Luke Grange ahead, but Alex Norris gets tagged. He got tagged by the Red Bull as Zakaria. Alex Norris down a place. It could be 2. Alex Norris just driving in the back of the Red Bull now, trying to nudge him along, saying, you drove into me, I'm going to drive into you, and you better get going with it, because we got Luke Grange for 7th, which we could be taking a place off of. You know, Zakaria wants to be very tactical about that, because it's his Academy teammate. Also, just keep in mind, if you're 7/10 back at that straight as Alex Norris, big dive bomb gets the move complete. If you're 7/10 back at that straight, Invade, like George was ahead of on Bonky in the Season 9 race, you can still pull off the overtake as we see Danny get through.
Is Danny going to get a second one? Danny gets shorts as well. Is Danny going to look at George? Oh, Shorts is still sat outside.
Whoa!
Penguin penalty!
While that's happening, Danny and Shorts, big contact, luckily to come out alive from it. There's more contact down here. Midfield Maestro gets caught right off. Put Lennon in the mix as well now. Blonde as well in the equation. Both of them have a shout. And look at Luke Range now, still not giving up. Maestro to the inside, pulling through. Oh my word.
Looking at a podium here before Stewards.
That is correct. Test Will also trying to lunge up the inside. 3 laps to go in the Las Vegas Grand Prix. We still have time to see who's going to hit the jackpot, and we could be having someone at the jackpot big time, that's for sure.
Night Owl's definitely going to be enjoying seeing Penguin having a penalty behind. He's going to feel a bit less pressure. Obviously, George is still going to be a threat on that last lap if he does stay in third, but Penguin will be trying to hold on to the position. Maybe he can get it removed, maybe he can't, who knows.
What we do know, though, and we didn't talk about this enough before the race, we talked about the cars with slow straight line speed, but the Ferrari is one of the best cars in the straight line speed category. Same with the Red Bull. They've got a chance in this fight. Both cars are in this fight, and on the last lap here in Season 9 Tier 2, the car behind overtaking, which was Bonky, reached 226 miles per hour. Could see the same thing now 2 times by next time.
As they stay in order this time around, as Luke does get past his academy teammate Zakaria, and Tess Will's up the inside of Zakaria. Tess Will's in the wall! No!
More wheel banging in that section. It results in disaster. Mintoki got feisty. George hits the Ferrari, which hits the Aston. Night Owl and Penguin drop places. F1 Shorts has a chance for his first career win, penning the 10-second now. Night Owl and Penguin.
Night Owl.
Yeah, they're going to be fuming. Shorts is staying in the train and behind George. This young driver is going to have a chance for a first win if he gets the 10-second removed. But again, that's a big if.
Mintoki could be looking at a win here.
But you got to wonder, was that George liable for the contact with Penguin and Night Owl? Big dive, big consequence.
You can only find out after the Stewart reports come out.
George F. Williams trying to get redemption for his win back, or his lost win back in Season 9. Shorts got the lead. George gave it up. But do you want the lead now, or do you want to have it later? Shorts applying the overtake. We've got moves being made down to the braking zone now. George on the attack. George also going with Penguin. 3 wide. Night Owl coming back at it. George got the lead, and George is going to keep it. They're side by side behind him. That's what he wants to see. Shorts hit the wall. Penguin at the wall. Night Owl through. It's all getting chaotic. Mintoki through as well. Final lap at Las Vegas. Night Owl on the back of Shorts. Night Owl wants redemption for being denied a few laps ago here. Side by side, Shorts prevailing, but George F. Williams leading and trying to get redemption for the race he lost here 2 times here prior, back in Season 9. Retirement, that's outside the points. We're moving around still in the braking zone as we get there. Shorts just hounding the back of the McLaren, shoving him along. He knows if he gets this 10-second remove, the win is there.
And I feel like it could be removed with the way Shorts is driving. He's being very aggressive with his defending. Obviously on the limit as Luke gets a penalty. That is inside of the point.
George is pulling left. He wants the DRS. Shorts is not letting him. Look at the games being played. Penguin, Danny trying to disrupt it. He's going through. Danny may have a penalty, but he's going to disrupt this fight with all his might. Look at Penguin going off. You said Mintoki might have a chance, but she's got a teammate. Look at this. Contact. Major contact. Here comes Night Owl. Almost 5 wide. Look at the scrap. 5-car scrap for the win. F1 Shorts trying to pull her on the outside of Night Owl. George are on the outside of Danny. Contact for the braking zone. Danny might win this race on track, but George Williams is going to get redemption for his win that was taken away from him in Season 9. Photo finish on track. George Williams gets redemption and extends the championship lead with it. George Williams was denied a victory here.
P4!
And a photo finish, but he's got it this time. Night Owl second, Matoki on the podium once again in third. And as you said, Alex Norris is P4. Compromised with the strategy, but got it done. What a race. Zakaria back in the points after his trouble. Luke as well had a spin earlier on. He's 10th after it's all said and done. Lennon 8th. Danny had the penalty. He's 5th. Penguin 7th. And Shorts dropped down to 12th right there. But I believe he finished up there on the podium on track, if not 4th. So he could get that removed. George Williams wins once again, and he gets redemption for the Season 9 Tier 2 race here that he lost. What a race.
He will be under pressure, though, in the stewards. As you said, there was a bit of contact. So, we will have to see. Danny gets the driver of the day. So deserved.
Yes, although he had the penalty, he tried to help his teammates, and he did a good job. And being from P20, not getting a chance to qualify on the last lap after being invalidated, and then the fuel, I think that's fair. Maybe one other driver I would give it to, maybe George, depending on the stewards report, but he'll backflip it on the podium, it looks like. George Williams raising a fist in the air, but we'll see if that stays. Just like Season 9, he'll be going to the stewards room, but this time, he might be the one at fault.
Zakaria recovered back to the points. Luke also gets a point. Lennon, after, let's say, a poor race for his standards, manages to scrape 4 points out of it. And Midfield Maestro, actually, on the compromise strategy, the first one to box out that lead group at the start, does manage a P6.
George Williams, if it stays, it's his 14th career Tier 2 win. He's in the top step ahead of Night Owl and Mintoki. Here's your full results, folks. We only lost 4 from the event. Testwell, Polo, Hyper, and Spangley. Super unfortunate for Polo. Second in the championship. McLaren do not win the title today. They'll go on to next week and try and do it in our return to Australia. Alex Norris, 4th place in a Haas. He could still be on for a podium after it's all said and done. Shorts had a lot of contact in the braking zone. Let's not forget that. If he gets a 3-second for all the contact he had, he might be in the storage room as well.
That was a brilliant race.
That was very good. I love what this circuit provides, even though it's a NASCAR race. Every time it feels like this circuit is what it's meant for, the way this game is designed with the DRS tactics and everything. It's a lot of fun, but it's probably frustrating for some, but we love it. You just didn't know what was going to happen. You just didn't know what was going to happen there in that last lap with Danny being the one saying, screw you guys playing these DRS games, I'm going through. He did not care the penalty was at stake. He wanted to pull a gap, and it was probably the smartest thing to do so. But George decided, I'm going to get you on track in a photo finish, and he did. George was the one on top in a photo finish this time here.
Definitely, and he makes a comeback for that race back in Season 9 where he lost it. So hopefully he can hold it this time. We don't know yet.
I mean, hopefully he does keep it because the redemption story is nice. But if he doesn't, Night Owl would get the win. And he'd be winning for back-to-back weeks. And like I said, whatever the case is with George and Night Owl, when they're both on the podium, which Night Owl on the podium, George ends up there too. Every time, they're 1-2. And they're 1-2 again as it stands.
Definitely. Fair play to Night Owl. P7 to P2 in the Aston Martin. Very, very strong result from him as well. I'd say he's one of 3 people who could be in shout of getting driver of the day, along with Alex Norris and George.
Yeah, I'd give it to George or George or Alex, maybe even Danny. Danny probably a good shout as well. All
My
three of those
personal-
guys should be in the
My personal
contention.
choice is Danny.
I think that's fair, just especially considering he's not returning to Ferrari next season. He's not had these races from the back of the field except for Singapore last season, which was more utter chaos than this one. You know, we'll just say that straight up. Even with the penalty, he would have been in contention for the victory on track and through results as well. And he decided, screw this DRS chicken, I'll go through anyway. That's one thing we'll have to keep an eye out for in the F2 race here on Sunday.
Definitely so.
So Invade, we've got a few more races this weekend that we got to look forward to. F1 in Hungary tomorrow, F2 in Vegas. Then next week, Tier 3 is in Brazil, and Tier 2 returns back to Australia. We've not been there since the F1 22 game cycle for Tier 2. It's been a long time, but a well-awaited return to that circuit in this tier, which should be tons of fun for these drivers, which could decide the championship as well.
Definitely so. Hopefully, the championship does keep going down to the wire. Has McLaren clutched the constructors?
Nope, but they can next week now with a bigger chance to do so.
Nice. Fair play.
With the result, though, it does mean that Ferrari has been eliminated from contention.
Rip.
Red Bull were already eliminated from contention, but it's down to McLaren and Mercedes, who both cars got in the points for Mercedes, something McLaren can't say today.
Sorry, what was that?
I said Mercedes can say they got both cars in the points today, but McLaren didn't.
Definitely so. Unfortunate for Paulo to have the DNF. He was struggling the whole week, the whole weekend, and hopefully he can bounce back next week.
And speaking of next week, let's tell you where we're at. Australia for Tier 2. That is where things will be for the race next week. If we don't see you then, hopefully we see you ahead of time, where we go to Hungary tomorrow for F1 Tier 1, and F2 will be in Las Vegas. Same place here to end off the weekend here at RPL Formula 1. I'm your commentator, Ryan Searles, co-com RSF1 Invade here with me tonight, and we will see you next time, folks. Until next time, though, have a good one, and we will see you then.
Bye.
Good night and goodbye.